you talk about Elon Musk and you go off on a tiny bit of a departure, which I loved, about self-made men, just because he's really not one. And I really, really like this. I think it's such an important narrative to debunk for anybody who lives in America, because it's somewhat unique here. We have our own thread. But you just also talk about, a couple times you mentioned this, and I've seen you mention in other places, if he were not a wealthy, I guess I'll throw in straight, but certainly white guy, he keeps failing upward. And what I wanted to ask you was, like, what's the opposite of that? I'm not questioning it at all, but what if he wasn't who he is? He probably wouldn't have gotten second chances and so on. What's the opposite of this dude?
Yeah, it's not even just second chances, right? It's like he and his brother created this company at the very beginning that was, you know, flawed. I mean, we have reports from his employees that he was just a horrible boss.
Zip
It
two.
Yeah, the company did not really do much. It was basically, it wasn't particularly innovative. It was basically, it was basically combining GPS information with like the yellow pages, which was coming out at the same time as many of the other things that we know that did that were also doing the same thing. It never made a profit. And it ended up being purchased for millions of dollars. His dad gave them $30,000 in order to found it. And they ended up selling it for like, first, before that even, they got a venture capitalist company to give them $3 million to invest in it.
I kind of, the thought I had, Celeste, tell me if this is wrong, and I know you will. It's like, if I have a good idea, it's just harder for me to sell my idea or get funding for my idea because I just don't have a network of people. But if you went to this school and you're in this fraternity and you have a network of people who are going to throw money, if you know anybody in venture capital, much less a bunch of people in venture capital, if you know anybody in finance, much less a bunch of people, you went to school with these people. But if I'm this person, I don't know anybody. I'm from another country. I don't speak English, but I have an awesome idea for a tiny little pipe fitting that would transform the world and create renewable energy free. But I don't have anybody no one's investing in me. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I want to take it one step further here, since we're talking about somebody who is just a serial liar. Having worked with somebody who is really good, probably, I'm talking about John Hockenberry at The Takeaway. And one of the things he was great at was building the mystique of himself as a brilliant man, right? And there's people, Elon Musk is another one of those. I feel like there's certain, especially white guys, who are just shameless in self-promotion. And I think most of us assume that nobody would lie about all that stuff. Like, that can't all be bluster. Right? And so I feel like there's also this element of someone who is just completely doesn't hesitate to blow their own horn and talk about how great they are. And I feel like some people are good at selling that. And I think he does. Yes, it's also true that he's a white dude with an accent who came from a lot of money, right? His dad had thoroughbred horses and yachts and blah, 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 blah. But he also got into the cool kids club by talking about how smart he is. And of course, everyone in the room is this smart and everyone else is a bunch of idiots, right? Like, this is sort of the tech bubble thing also, where if you sit around with a bunch of tech bros for any period of time, it's always going to come back to, oh my God, we're so smart. And the rest of the world is a bunch of idiots.